film, Sean.
Huh?
I've got it all on film.
Oh, God. Welcome back to Abus and Beyond, and in this video we get asked all the time what it's like to drive our T6.1 California Beach with the bigger wheels and lowered suspension, so we're going to answer that question today. Please do excuse the mess of the van. British weather is not very kind to our car today. It is absolutely filthy, but that doesn't stop us showing you what it's like to drive. But before we do that, let's have a quick recap and let you know what we have done to the suspension and the wheels on this California Beach. So the first and most obvious difference that you see are the larger wheels. As standard, the California Beach comes with 17-inch wheels. These are 20-inch super metal cell wheels. They're supposed to be bronze, but they're mud coloured, I'm afraid. But they look fantastic. They look really, really smart. And then the tyres fitted to these are 275 35 R20s. So the 20-inch 35 profile and 275 wide. Now, when we first got the wheels, we had relatively cheap tyres. They were fine, but just to try and keep the cost down, what with suspension, wheels and tyres, it was quite expensive, so we didn't go for ridiculously expensive tyres. Now, the only issue with those was they created a fair bit of road noise, and when we got a screw in the front tyre, it gave us an excuse to change those tyres to these are Michelin Pilot Sport, so they're fantastic tyres, really, really good, make a world of difference. They just feel better. They've got, I think they've got a bit of a softer compound to them. Yeah, just feels so much better. Now they're quite expensive, those tyres. They're about 250 quid a tyre. So we changed the front to, we still have the cheaper, older ones on the back, and eventually when we need new tyres on the front, we'll probably rotate them back and put new ones on the front. But yeah, it really made a difference. It made a difference in the road noise and just the way the van feels. Now also, obviously, we're lowered on coilover suspension. These are Bilstein B16 coilovers. They're not the easiest to find. They're a bit of a bespoke set which Transporter HQ kindly fitted to the van. They had a set that had been developed specifically for the T6.1, and yeah, we were lucky enough to buy them from Transporter HQ. And they are just fantastic. They're fully adjustable. You can change how firm the suspension is. You can change the ride height. Yeah, you can change all sorts. Now, to change the ride height is sort of a specialist job. At least a suspension specialist. You have to take it to a garage. They'll have to jack it up and get all the van level, take the wheels off and adjust it. But to change the stiffness of the suspension, there's literally just a dial on the bottom, and you can get underneath and turn it a few clicks and do it exactly how you want it. I'll be honest with you, I've not touched it because we're quite happy with how it feels anyway, and I'm a bit too scared of messing it up. But yeah, you can actually do that. You probably would have to jack it up just to get access under there, but yeah, you can change it yourself for the firmness of the suspension. It's lowered probably about 30 mil, I would guess, 30 or 40 mil, so it's dropped quite a bit. But it is on coilovers, real fancy suspension. So basically what that means is you change the springs and the actual dampers, change the whole lot. So it all works in harmony to create a really nice suspension setup. But the important thing is, what is it like to drive? So let's take it for a drive and find out.
As many of you will already be aware, we're really passionate about making travel accessible for all the family, and that includes our wonderful pets, like Bentley here. We're super excited to be working with ManyPets Pet Insurance, who are exactly what you need to keep your pet safe. I've linked them below in the description for you to check them out yourself and to get a quote. Our pets do so much for us. They're the perfect travel companions, and having pet insurance means that you're able to look after them as well as they look after you. One of my favourite features of ManyPets pet insurance is that if you have to make a claim, the excess is payable only once per policy year and not for every condition or claim. And if your pet is anything like Bentley here, you'll be making several claims each year anyway, so that is very nice to know. Anyone who watched our travel vlogs around Scotland will remember the time that Bentley unexpectedly cut his paw and got a nasty infection in it. These things can happen at any time and at any place, and with pet insurance it's reassuring to know that you're not worried about how much treatment might cost. Bentley deserves the absolute best because he gives us his absolute best. And also, he's an excellent hat remover. You gonna remove the hat? There's probably... What have you spotted? There's literally nothing out there. Bentley, what's this? What are we even looking at? What's this here? There we go. It's also reassuring to know that you can get up to £15,000 of cover, so you'll have peace of mind that your wonderful pet is well covered for whatever trouble they manage to get themselves into. So check out ManyPets pet insurance in our link below to get a quote and ensure your happiness. Also, if you purchase through our link, then you can get a £50 gift card. We'd like to say a huge thank you to ManyPets for sponsoring this video and allowing us to talk about the importance of pet insurance.
So what's it like to drive? These are probably the best roads to really test it on. These are your typical British B road. So loads of potholes, loads of undulations in the road and lots of tight corners. It's definitely firmer, far firmer than the standard setup that you get on a California. But I wouldn't say it's crashy, it's compliant. The body roll is far less in the corners. The steering feels nicer. I would say it's weighted up a bit more than you would get on the standard setup. It just gives a bit more feedback as you turn into the corners. It's definitely not turned it into a Lotus. You know, you are not going to take it on track days or anything like that. It's just not what happens. It just makes it flatter, more compliant and a bit more predictable, really. I would say if you're looking for pure comfort, then don't do this. You know, if you want to purely have the softest ride, travelling all the way down to the south of France, say, keep the standard setup, it's not more comfortable. Yes, the suspension is a higher class of product than you get on a standard van, but it's aimed more at a sportier ride. What I would say though is if this is the kind of look that you are going for, if you want to go for the bigger wheels, if you want to go for the lowered look, then I would highly recommend this kind of setup over just getting springs. Springs are all well and good, they give you the look, but fitted to the standard dampers, the dampers are not designed to give you that lowered centre of gravity on the same spring rate, on the same damper rate, so it just becomes crashier, whereas this is firmer but more compliant. Now what about noise? I think the road noise is higher than it was on, I mean it's a while since we had the standard setup, but I think the road noise is higher than it was on the standard setup. However, if I compare it to when we had BF Goodrich tyres, on our last California we had the big off-road all-terrain tyres fitted to the standard suspension. That definitely got a lot louder. When we first fitted those tyres, it was fine. We didn't have any difference in road noise at all, but then as those BF Goodrich tyres wore in, they got louder. Whereas this, if anything, has gone the other way. When we had the standard tyres, the Churchill tyres fitted to these wheels, it was really quite noisy, particularly at like 65 mile an hour. But since we fitted the Michelin Pilot Sport tyres, they are far quieter, much better, but I would say it is still noisier than the standard setup. Big question is, would I recommend it? Well, it's very expensive to do. I think with the wheels and the suspension, this particular suspension is very expensive. So you're looking at the best part of £3 with the wheels and tyres and the suspension. So that's a lot of money, you know. And if, like I say, if you're looking for, if you just want to keep a comfort factor in the vehicle, if you want to keep it comfy to go as many miles as possible, then no, probably not. I wouldn't recommend it. But if you want it to look more bespoke, oh my gosh, everyone stopped. Oh, that was so close. We've just had to stop because they've an escort vehicle sort of blocked the road. There's a caravan in front of us and they're moving a big static caravan, and we're, like I say, we're on B roads. This might be an A road now, but it's a very small A road. That was so tight, like millimeters from taking the back of that lovely caravan off. That would have ruined someone's Christmas. Yeah, like I say, so would I recommend it? Yes, if you want a lowered van with big wheels, then I would definitely recommend going for coilovers over just standard springs. Standard springs, I just don't think give you anywhere near as good a ride as what we get on this. Also, if you're a bit of a nutter and drive really fast everywhere, then maybe, yeah, maybe you do need this, because it's certainly not wallowy like a standard California is. But if you want to go for pure comfort, then no, I would just stick with the standard setup and enjoy a more relaxing ride. Well, the big question is, what other options are there as well? So we've said about keeping the vehicle standard. We've also spoken about the benefits of the coilovers. Now, if you want the best of both worlds, I would say probably the best option is to go for full air suspension. That way you can lower the vehicle, you can get it far lower than you can with coilovers, you can get it right down on the ground, but then you still have the benefit of the comfort that is provided by a more standard setup, because you're literally riding on a cushion of air. So that's a great option, but again, that's even more expensive. You're talking £5 or £6 for a decent air suspension setup. And the other negative of those is there is more things to go wrong. If you've got cushions of air and you're driving on a road that naturally has stuff being thrown up at it, there is always the potential of bursting those airbags. So that's the downside. A bit more work involved as well. You've got compressors and air lines to run underneath the van. So yeah, it's definitely more complicated, but it is probably the ultimate setup you can go for. There's also other styles of coilovers. If you want to go lower than what we've got, there is setups like solo coilover suspension, which drops far lower than this does. But I suspect, I've not tried one on solo suspension, but I suspect that it's even more detrimental to the ride quality. It just has to be. There's no question about that. Or, like we said, there is the option of just fitting springs, where it's the cheaper option. A set of decent springs will cost you 500 quid. And yeah, that way you get the look that you get on the van like this, but the quality of the ride will not be as good as you get on this. It will, if anything, it will probably be the worst setup for ride quality. But if you're happy to live with that, then that's not an issue. Some people, the problem with suspension is it's a very subjective view. Some people like a firm setup, some people don't. Some people feel ill travelling in a wallowy, soft setup, and some people find it gives them a headache smashing around on firm suspension. So yeah, it's one of those things that unfortunately, whoa, that was a good puddle I just went through. Unfortunately, it's just one of those things that until you try it yourself, you don't really know what it's going to be like. So I hope that has given you a good idea of what the suspension is like on our van. If you have any questions, please pop them in the comments below and I shall try and answer them. I'd love to hear what you guys have got on your vehicles. Let us know if you've got a lowered vehicle, let us know if you've got air suspension as well. That's pretty damn cool. Thank you so much for watching, really appreciate it. And please, if this has been helpful, please like the video and consider subscribing if you haven't already. It really helps us out. And yeah, we shall see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Cheers.